Hi everyone, my name is Twinkle and welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I am going to cover up a very interesting and a highly requested video of all times, which is, any guesses? I'm sure if you've come here after watching the thumbnail, you know that this video is going to contain absolute clear differences about both the airlines, the topmost airlines of the Middle East, which is Qatar Airways and Emirates. Yes, if you're someone who has passion to join any of these airlines or just as general is interested to know the crew side, the employee side of making a conscious choice for yourself of which airline to pick, then this video is for you. I have already gone ahead and made a video about the clear differences if you're someone who has two choices of choosing either Qatar Airways and Singapore Airlines. Then that video is also there on my channel. I will leave the link to that in the description box. Go ahead and check that out. That's also a very crisp, structured as well as detailed video that can help you make a better choice. For the time being, let's jump into this video. But before that, if you haven't subscribed to my channel yet, then go ahead, hit the subscribe button. If you like the kind of content that I create, then go ahead and hit the like button and share with as many people as you can. Let's quickly start the video. As usual, a disclaimer: the opinion, the choice is yours to choose any airline, and this is going to be backed up by the facts visible on their official websites, official sources, as well as my own experience of being in the business for the past 14 years. We are all different people. We can have different priorities and preferences. The choice is yours. I'm only going to lay down the clear differences based on categories. So I have made around 10 to 12 categories for you to be easily able to identify the clear differences. So the category number one is the salary. So the salary that Emirates or QR gives their employees is for Qatar Airways, it's basic salary of 3,800 Qatari riyals. The salary is in Qatari riyals, and one Qatari riyal currently is 22 Indian rupees. If you are from another country, you can convert it in dollars. For other nationalities, $1 is equal to somewhere around 3.5 Qatari riyals. The hourly allowance, per hour allowance that Qatar Airways gives to its employees is 50 riyals. The average hours per month that anyone will definitely do is between 80 to 100. And accordingly, an average monthly salary would be somewhere around 8,500. So if we talk about Emirates, in this case, their salary is 4,430 dirhams, and their hourly allowance, per hour allowance, is 63.75 dirhams, which is definitely more than what Qatar Airways provides you. So an average of 80 to 100 hours per month will give you an average monthly salary of 10,170. So there is a clear difference of 1,500 dirhams or Qatari riyals. More or less their values are same in Indian rupees. So this is a clear difference. In dollars, there's a difference of around 150. So you would know what choice to make. These are the clear numbers. Definitely there are hikes, there are salary increases as per your grades, and it happens in both the airlines quite easily. This is the salary that an economy crew on joining would earn. It will increase year by year and position by position. Now let's talk about the second category, which is accommodation. So accommodation in this case is first of all fully furnished by both the airlines. Both the airlines would provide you accommodation which will be shared by 2 or 3 people. In both the airlines, you would be sharing the apartment with 2 or 3 people. However, you will have your separate rooms and also separate bathrooms. In some cases, you might have to share the third or second bathroom if you have a third flatmate, but TV connection, calls or internet is not included. That is not free of cost, but the accommodation as well as the transport is free of cost, but the transport is also to and from the office to your accommodation or any trainings, not for your personal use or any day when you want to visit the office. Let's talk about the visitor policy now. You know for a fact that you will be sharing and you will be staying in the accommodations that are provided by the company, so you have to follow the rules of the company, and both the companies have some set of rules, some flexible, some very rigid. Let's talk about the visitor policy. If there is someone who is not a part of the cabin crew family or is not an employee, what are the rules pertaining to them and what are the rules that are valid for a cabin crew employee. So visitor policy says that there are no visitors allowed after 10 p.m. in Qatar Airways. So if you are flying with Qatar Airways, after 10 p.m. you cannot have any visitors unless they are crew and of the same gender. In this case, in case of Emirates, this policy is extended and it is for 1 a.m. So 1 a.m. in the morning, you cannot have any visitors after that, again unless they are crew, and the gender has not been defined, so I assume there is no problem with gender also. You can also have male or you can also have female, which in case of Qatar Airways we have different buildings for female crew and male crew, so there is no way that male and female crew can enter each other's building because they are not staying in the same building. However, in case of Emirates, that is not the case. So in this case, there is no gender biasness or of visitors. Unless they are crew, they can come in even after that time. When we're talking about visitor policy, let's talk about family visit rules also. So as a part of visitors, you're entitled that you can sponsor your family members. So in case of Qatar Airways, you can either call one person from your family, has to be same gender. So if you're living in the female cabin crew accommodation, then either your mother or sister can come in and stay with you for as long as 1 month, with permission obviously from the department as well as your flatmates. In case of Emirates, it's two. So 2 people at one point in time, so it can be your mother as well as your sister. Both of them can stay with you in your accommodation, which is definitely not easy, because at a point in time, if you have 4 people, 5 people in this accommodation, it can get a little occupied, it can get a little crowded, it can invade the privacy of the other person, but it totally depends. I have been in a situation like this and I know for sure, but it totally depends upon the accommodation size and person to person. Let's talk about the uniform now. Uniform is definitely provided by the company, but also the laundry and dry cleaning of the uniforms is a responsibility of the company. All you have to do is make sure that before your flight, every flight, your uniform is dry cleaned and clean, nicely washed and ready to be worn for a flight. So for Qatar Airways, they have most of the outlets are within the accommodation. Mostly accommodations would have a laundry where all the crew can come in, and if in some accommodations there are no laundry services, they can obviously visit the other or nearby accommodations. However, in Emirates we have different outlets spread all over the area for them to go ahead and get their uniforms sorted and dry cleaned, ready for the other flights. Let's talk about the staff travel benefits. Staff travel benefits is if you are an employee in any of these airlines, your family members and some of the friends that are registered in the system can travel at a discounted price in airlines. This is availability basis. These are definitely limited. There is a limited number of 20 or 30 tickets only. But apart from this, you get one annual ticket that is free of cost. No cost at all, zero, no taxes also involved, and it is a confirmed seat, which is to your country of origin, which means if you're from India, then only to India, basically city of origin where you traveled from. This ticket is valid for that sector only in Qatar Airways, but for Emirates, you can change this destination to any other destination after 3 years of service. So that is another change that Emirates offers, but Qatar Airways does not offer. Let's talk about the next category, which is the gratuity or end of service benefits. So gratuity is something that you're entitled to get after 5 years of working in a company. So in case of Qatar Airways, you're entitled after completing 5 years. So if, for example, you have completed 5 years of your service in a company and then you resign, you will be getting a gratuity of 3 weeks into every completed year of service, which means 5 years into 3 weeks of salary, whatever is the amount that is given to you as your end of service benefit. But in case of Emirates, this is a non-contributing end of service benefit. It doesn't state very clearly in the contract about their end of service benefits. It only says it's a non-contributing end of service benefit, which means that the airline would not be contributing anything. It's only whatever they probably deduct from your salary. However, if there is anyone from Emirates who has a lot of clarity about this, I would be more than happy to get some clarity on this. Please put your suggestions in the comment section below. Let's come to the connected point, which is about the contract. So you're employed in the company under a contract and a bond. In case of Qatar Airways, it has been ever changing. It initially used to be a bond and a contract of 3 years, which was renewable, mutually renewable. If they wanted you, if they want your services, they would renew your contract. If they don't want you, then they would not renew your contract. So which was initially for 3 years, then it changed to 1 year, to no contract at all, and now it's back to again 2 years of contract. Again, it has been ever ever changing. If there is another information about this, please put it down in the comment section below. And in case of Emirates, it's a 3 years of a renewable contract. Again, the same drill follows here as well. If they want you after 3 years, they will renew. There will be some changes in the contract. They will ask you to sign it. If both of you agree to it, they will definitely renew your contract. So it is 3 years of renewable contract. However, if you go ahead and you resign before completing 6 months of service, which is your probation period, you are entitled to pay. You are supposed to pay a penalty of 8,000 dirhams to the company, provided you resign before completing 6 months of service. And in case of Qatar Airways also, there are penalties which have not been defined, but it is definitely not a smaller amount, provided you resign before completing 6 months of probation period. However, in both the companies, if you supposed to leave the company, whether it's by the company or if it's by your side, you have to give a week's notice if you have not completed 6 months of service. And if you want to resign after completing 6 months, per se 8 months or 1 year, you have to give a 1 month of notice period, whether it's the company that terminates you or you go ahead and want to resign from the company. So that pretty much clears out the air about the contract and notice periods. If we talk about the leave part, a paid leave of 30 days, 30 calendar days, but all you have to make sure is you're not entitled for all those 30 years, 1 month combined in 1 year. This is divided. You cannot take it all together. You have to divide this in half year. So in first 6 months, you have to go ahead and take your 15 leaves, and in the second year, second half of the year, you have to take the 15 leaves. You can't take it all together unless you have a special permission or you've saved and you go ahead and take approval from the management. It is not the pattern, but you can definitely go ahead if there is a special occasion about it. Another thing, when we are discussing about the leave and probation period in Emirates, they do not allow you to fly to your home country, or you cannot visit your home. You cannot go ahead and leave the country before you complete your 6 months of service with the company. But Qatar Airways does not have any such rules. If you are rostered or if you have a leave more than 2 days, you can definitely call in for exit permits. That is a permission from the airline or the country. You have to take it and you can definitely visit your families. Mind you, this was not the procedure years back. We never were allowed to go home to our home country and visit our families within probation period, but it has been relaxed for now. Let me know in the comment section if it has been changed again. Talking about the roster, which is your monthly schedules of operating flights, then it is a mix of all the flights. However, along in short haul flights, there is a mix that the rostering departments maintains, and it is quite just and fair. No questions here, no discussions here, because everybody has their different opinions, but it is just as compared to your local airlines in your own country. However, they make sure that you are getting at least 8 days off in a month. That is for sure. However, there is another special request that you can place to swap your flights or you change your flights amongst the cabin crew. So there is a special procedure for that also, which you are trained on. You can place your swap requests if you want to change your flight, exchange your flight basically with other colleagues. You can do that, but Emirates does not allow you to do that before the completion of 6 months. However, there is no such case if you talk about Qatar Airways. That is another point, that it is not very easy to get a swap or request approved anyway, because there are a lot of legalities and a lot of other things that are involved. It's not that easy, but it is allowed. Let's talk about your life insurance and personal cover, accidental cover. So both the airlines covers you for your life, or if there is any injury or accident that you come across while flying or during service, then your expenses, everything is covered under your policy, your medical insurance, whether it's your life or whether it's your medical expenses. There are also some conditions that you need to fulfill to fall under that category, that you have met an accident under the service time also. Then these are some other details, like you will get to know about this once you're working in the company. But yes, you are covered. Your families are not covered. Only you as an individual, you as an employee are covered. However, both of them are absolutely amazing. The Qatar Airways medical insurance and reimbursements are very good, very smooth, and so is for Emirates. However, for Qatar Airways, they do not cover your ophthalmologist and dental expenses. But for Emirates, they also have a provision for 2000 dirhams per year for your dental expenses, provided you get it done from the company doctors and you're advised to do so. They are not covering your beautifications, but only the things that are required for you to maintain your set of teeth. Now let's talk about some different aspects in different categories. And number one out of those is your ease of relocation and your expenses, how much your savings are going to be in both the countries. So if you talk about Doha as well as Dubai, Emirates or Qatar, both of them are absolutely seamless. They will receive you, give you accommodation, transportation. There are departments to take care of everything. So your travel as well as your relocation will be very smooth. Everything is taken care of in both the airlines. However, in case or in terms of expenses and savings, there is a huge difference as compared to what Dubai offers and what Doha offers. So Doha as compared to Dubai is not very expensive, considering Dubai is one of the most in-demand tourist attractions, and considering the amount that they're offering you, which is a tad bit higher than Qatar, you will end up spending that amount. If you take an example of something as common as taxi fares, if you're going to spend a minimum of 10 to 20 or 30 riyals maximum in Qatar on an everyday basis or whenever you go out, you are going to spend a lot more than that in Dubai, as much as 60 to 80 dirhams easily. So in comparison, the expenses on daily basis, whether it's your groceries, your travel, your food, is going to be definitely expensive, and so are going to be your savings, very difficult as compared to what Qatar has to offer you. So if you're considering expenses, if you're considering savings, then you might have to make a decision which is well thought. But about your life, your exploration, or your rules and regulations, if you talk about country-based regulations, which is much more relaxed in Dubai, because it is one of the better, or how you'd like to call it, the most attractive destination for now for all around the world, and this is all around very busy. Comparing that, the expenses, the attractions, and the exposure, the environment you get in Dubai is far better. There is a cultural exposure to different nationalities and expats in both the countries, but what you can do in Dubai, you might not be able to do in Doha because of the restrictions and rigidity. So when we are talking about the rules and relaxations about the country, which is stricter in case of Qatar, also, when you talk about the airlines in general, it's strict in case of Qatar. So, for example, usage of phones, clicking pictures in uniform, using social media, minimum rest maintenance, social media policy or policies in general, discipline to maintain, traveling in uniform, or how you're supposed to conduct yourself in uniform, is much more rigid and strict in case of Qatar Airways and is way relaxed in Emirates. So if you're someone who cannot abide by the rules to such an extent when in uniform, then you have to make a choice for yourself very wisely. I do have a very detailed video about the social media policy of Qatar Airways where they restrict you to do a lot of things. I'm sure Emirates also have such rules in place, and these rules are not very well and in-depth read by the employees, so they're not aware of it. But I'm sure also on another fact that they're not going to be as rigid as it is in Qatar Airways. So rigidity is one thing that you will have to face in case of Qatar Airways as compared to what you will face in Emirates. Let's talk about one of the relative topic or relative category when we're talking about rigidity is living out allowances. So Qatar Airways does not allow its employees to stay outside the company accommodations unless you are very senior and you request for it. That means you have a grade of a grey uniform or a service director or so, you can request for it, but it is on approval basis. And also the live out allowances are not sufficient as compared to what the company will offer you. So that decision is not open to all in the first place. Approval is required, and not a lot of people are doing it because it's not encouraged as well. But in case of Emirates, it is comparatively relaxed. You can go ahead and request for it if in case you are a first class cabin crew. Dubai is far more expensive, and the amount of allowance they could offer you is going to be between 5,000 to 6,000 max. That is max to max. Comparatively, what I see Qatar Airways crew getting as per their grades, of course, is very less. So it can be a lot of burden for you, and that decision has to be very well thought. But they do encourage you to live out, and they also, both of them, give you allowances, but it is far better in case of Emirates, and the ease of moving out is also way easier. Now let's talk about some other facts about the airline itself, talking about your growth in both the airlines. So some facts like aircrafts or destinations that they cover, or nationalities that they cover, or the fleet that they have is different. So if you talk about the aircrafts or the fleet that Qatar Airways offers, they have 320s, they have 340s, 777s, 787s. They also have a few 380s in operation. But if you compare it to Emirates, they have a youngest fleet of only 3 A380s and 777s. They don't have any narrow body fleet to operate. So that is another exposure on its own. These are the categories of aircrafts that you operate, and it also is one of the contributing factor of what kind of aircrafts are you operating, and in which kind of aircrafts are you actually serving your guests. So that is different in both the airlines. If we talk about the nationality, you all know that both the airlines offer a multicultural environment where we have 120 plus nationalities working in Qatar Airways. We have over 160 working for Emirates. But the number of Asians, specifically Indians, working in Qatar Airways is much more as compared to Emirates, that have a higher majority of European employees working with them. If we talk about the destination, it covers over Qatar covers over 160 plus destinations worldwide, and Emirates covers over 135 plus destinations worldwide. If you're worried about the growth factor, both the airlines will offer, comparatively compared to other airlines, local airlines, a very fast rate of promotion and growth. So you can be promoted to becoming a purser or a lead in this airline within a 5-year of period, provided you have a great performance track and your assessments are to the T. It is all performance based, it is your productivity based, it is based on your performance purely. Last but not the least, I want to cover up the safety aspect and some other rules and regulations that are there for the crew as well and from the country also. So if you talk about the safety, both the countries are very safe for women and for people in general. Yes, this is safe. However, as much as Dubai is famous for everything, they are very famous on concealing things also. This is a personal experience, and there have been a lot of incidents, whether it's Doha, Qatar, or whether it's Dubai. Yes, definitely every country has its pros and cons, and every country is not crime free. Every country is not the safest in the world. Yes, but these are one of the safest countries. However, I will still give it more to Qatar as compared to Dubai, where there are more people, more tourists, more bling involved. There is some sort of safety which is negotiated. So in terms of safety, I would still give it to Qatar as compared to Dubai. Another rule and restriction that I want to share with you all here is, which is definitely valid for other people but also for crew, the restricted carriage or use of alcohol. So as a cabin crew, you cannot have in possession, or you're not even allowed to purchase or have any alcohol, whether it's your accommodation, whether you're bringing in it. No one is allowed to basically have alcohol in open, have in possession, or carriage of alcohol into Doha. There are very specific places in Doha, mostly 5 stars, where you're served alcohol and you have to show your IDs. Only then you will be given entry and access to such places. But as compared to Emirates, there are no such restrictions, whether it's for crew or other people. There are some restrictions that are well kept in place, but the free flow of alcohol is not making it very safe at all. I'm not stereotyping, but this is what is my opinion based on safety in both the countries. And that's pretty much about it. I have covered a lot of categories, and this video is definitely gotten a little bit longer. However, if you think that there are other points or other categories, other points, specific points that you need some clarity on, if you have any questions, suggestions, or any other comments, then please put it down in the comment section below. I will be more than happy to read them. I hope you found this video helpful, and if you do, don't forget to like this one, and I will see you in my next video. Take care and bye bye.